We ain't gonna ask you to sow no seed. We just gonna ask you to open your heart and receive from the Lord. Now wait just a minute, wait just a minute. Y'all have a seat, y'all have a seat. We ain't gonna lift no offering tonight. But I believe we're gonna shout again. Come on, Deacon Tim Lucas is in the house. Here comes a miracle walking at you right now.
Some people know this, some don't. Let me make a long story about a big God short. Back at the end of July, if you didn't know this, I know a few people knew. I went into the hospital with stomach pains. And I went in, you know how men, especially black men, we don't go to the doctor. So I went in and they ran x-rays and they said, we got to put you in the hospital. I'm like, what you put me in the hospital for? So I had a mass on my pancreas. And they told me I had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. You know, when the doctor tells you that, you think it's death. It's surely death. I didn't cry one tear. I was in a hospital by myself. My wife hadn't made it. I stayed in the hospital a couple days. When I got out of the hospital, I had some blessed oil from the church. And Pastor Gray, you just said to pray over yourself. I prayed over myself. I did it. So as I sat in the hospital, the doctors come through. They want you to make your arrangements. They want you to put your stuff together. I'm getting the insurances together. So they end up running another scan. And the doctor listen, I got down to 124 pounds. 124 pounds. I couldn't walk. We're updating the bathroom to handicap. Updating the shower to handicap. I couldn't get out of the bed for 3 weeks. I couldn't eat. I lost all of my weight. I was Isaiah 53:5, all in the hospital. But he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. I went back in for the scans. The tumor was at a 1,400 tumor mark, and if you understand that. When I went back in, it was at 153. The cancer had spread to my liver. I had a 12-centimeter cyst in my liver. It went down to 7, and everything else they couldn't find no more. Now unto him who is able. got to hear this. As they told me I had to take 6 things of chemo. And I know Leonard and Larita know this. So they put the port in my chest. And when they were sticking the chemo in the hospital, the doctor ran down and said, stop. He said the chemo would kill him. He stopped it in the middle of it and they put me on Keytruda. He said the 6 things of chemo will surely kill him. They put me on the Keytruda. I had the side effects. I didn't lose no hair. I didn't do anything. How do you know that the stage 4 cancer is in early remission? Last thing. On January the 15th, I got a Facebook reminder. From January 15th, 2013, when they pulled cancer out of my back. I just left out of the hospital and the reminder came up. You know what I tell myself? Me and God got history. He did it before. He'll do it again. God is so good. God is so good. God is amazing. When you're going through stuff and you're silent, you got to trust God for yourself. You got to pray over yourself like she said. Oh, that thing you've been doing in church all these years, it come to life when you're in the bed by yourself. I couldn't walk. I had to be rolled in the hospital. I couldn't get out of the bed. I couldn't take a shower without handicap stuff. I couldn't do any of that. I lost all my weight. I'm getting my weight back. I went back to work. I'm back traveling. I'm doing the things that I'm used to. Only but God. God is so amazing. God is so amazing. And Pastor Gray, I was going to sit in that seat and be quiet. But you said to pray over yourself. You started speaking into my heart. I said, I got to tell this. Because somebody is suffering with something. And they got to trust God with it. You got to trust God with everything in you. When the doctor says the end, but God, you got to trust God with everything in you. This thing we live is not a play. We got to trust God with everything. I thank you for that word. I was riding past the church. I said, I think they got revival tonight. I'm just going to pop in and be quiet. But God is so amazing. God will send a word to you to make you get off your feet. He said, make known his deeds among the people. Because the testimony can help somebody else. Look, I love y'all. God is amazing. This battle, it wasn't too much of a battle. I gave it to God. I said, I can't handle it. It's too much for me. I'm going to give it to you. And if you seen me a couple months ago, if you seen me, you wouldn't notice me. I was so frail. I couldn't move. I couldn't walk. When I talk, my voice break up. But God is so amazing. God is so amazing. Look, trust God with everything in you. Stay in prayer. Stay in your word. We got to tell God what he told us. You got to speak his word back to him. You have to speak his word back to him. Look, God's amazing. I love you all. Thank you all for the prayers. Those that knew, keep me lifted up in prayer. I'm staying encouraged. And I've seen God do it before. I watched him do it. I'm the youngest person walking in the cancer ward. Last thing I tell you, there's a nurse. She's taking my blood. It's a black lady. She got to be in her 30s. And I got my head down because my head, I couldn't lift it up. You got to understand, I can't walk like this. I'm walking like this. And she said, why you got your head down? What did they tell you? You know, how many treatments you got to have? And I told her, she was like, lift your, and this is a black girl. She said, lift your hand up. You don't trust God for nothing, do you? I went through cancer, radiation. I'm sitting here taking your blood. She told me that. And she said, the lady behind you got to take 40 treatments. And she's 68 years old. I watched them do it. I watched them do it. God is so amazing. I love him. I love you all. Continue to lift me up in prayer. But remember, that silent thing you go through, you go to God for yourself. You got to trust God with everything in you. And Pastor, that oil, it was sitting in the dresser. I just took it and started going. And I know God gonna do it. And look, God brought me through. I know, I trust him. I take him at his word. I know his will be done in my life. And I just thank him. I love you all.
Amen. Look at God did it. God did it.